Shalom everyone, this is Amir Tsarfati. I'm here in Galilee. Behind me, as you can see, the Valley of Armageddon. It's Shabbat, it's peaceful, but don't let this peace confuse you. There's a lot of stuff that is going on, not only here, but also all around the world. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to connect. And then I want to give a very short update because quite a few things happened over the last 24 hours. And I think that you need to know. So again, this is the Armageddon Valley right there. As you can see, this flat valley right below my house. I live in Galilee. I don't know. Let's see if I can show you a little bit more. We spent a lot of time sitting here on the lawn, spending some family time. As you know, we have been going through rough times. But again, I'll wait to see a few more, and I want to give you an update on a few things that happened in Israel, outside of Israel, and way beyond our borders. So let me see how many we have. Okay, it looks like we've got everyone from Asia to the west coast of the United States. So again, shalom everyone. This is Amir Tsarfati. It's Shabbat. It's almost over, by the way. In 1 hour, it's going to be officially the end of Shabbat. It's very peaceful and tranquil here in Galilee. But don't let this peace confuse you or deceive you. There's a lot that is going on all around us. First of all, the horrific terror attack that took place on Thursday night at the end of our Day of Independence. 2 thugs, a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old Palestinians, armed with a knife and with an axe, responded to the inciting words of Hamas leaders from Gaza and butchered 3 Israeli men who basically left 16 kids without father right now. These are ultra-Orthodox Jews. They did nothing. In fact, one of the guys gave a ride to those 3. Those 3 were trying to hitchhike, and he gave them a ride. And as soon as they got to where they wanted, they cracked his head open with an axe, and then got out of the car and killed more and wounded more. So this is as far as Hamas and Palestinians. And I told you, and I know a lot of people don't take it seriously, but the inciting on the internet regarding the soon end of Israel, regarding July 8th. Remember, someone calculated according to some verses in the Quran that by July 8th, Israel will come to an end. And according to his words, the Ramadan will be the beginning of the downfall. And everyone that is now taking part of this wave of terrorism is convinced that he is doing his part in bringing the end to Israel, bringing the end of Israel, basically. So they are honored. They're honored to do that. Can you imagine what it takes for 18-year-old, 19-year-old to take an axe and a knife and to kill, to butcher people that are not armed, people who actually helped them, people who gave them jobs, and they left 16 children with no parents right now, with no father. Okay, so this is the last of few terror attacks. The Israeli government is, you know my opinion, we should have decapitated the head of the snake long time ago. The Hamas leader should have been under the ground, but he's actually doing whatever he wants. Now, let me tell you that the Palestinians are you know, they kind of ran out of ammunition right now because Ramadan is over. The religious feelings of everyone is now no longer that high. Everybody got back to work, got back to school, back to normal life. That's it. So now they're looking for some sort of excuse to continue. And again, the narrative that they're using is Israel is breaking and storming into the third holiest mosque in the world. They're trying to take over. They're trying to put the Israeli flag on the Temple Mount and declare it as theirs. Blah, blah, blah. No one is doing that. No one wants to do it. Nobody intends to do it. But we've been touring the Temple Mount for over 50 years now. But nobody cares about that. Nobody, I mean, and these people they're storming into the mosque, not barefoot. They are storing rocks inside. They are destroying ancient relics. They're destroying ancient doors, ancient windows of their own mosque. All in the effort to do what? To kill and incite and create violence, so the world will think that Israel is about to do something to the Palestinians, which, of course, we're not. Now, early this morning, airstrike in Syria destroyed several Iranian assets on the ground on the border between Syria and Iraq. So just so you know, that's a very, very known route of smuggling rockets and weapons and even parts of UAVs. See, this is the next thing. This is, I mean, if you're watching what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, you understand that Russia's biggest problem is the Ukrainian UAVs, those drones. They're made in Turkey. These are Turkish-made drones, and they cause havoc. They destroy so many things on the ground. So drones are the next thing, and the Iranians they know that, and they smuggle into Syria as many pieces, and they assemble them in Syria, on Syrian ground. The frequency of the Israeli strikes on Iranian targets in Syria has been significantly down, and because we have a government that is very incompetent. Now, another thing you want to know. Close after midnight, North Korea launched another very sophisticated intercontinental ballistic missile. And this time from the sea, from a submarine. They launched it. This is the 15th missile test from the beginning of this year only. 15th. There was none during Trump administration. 15 within 1 year, within 4 months, 4.5 months so far this year. Another thing you want to know, a very unprecedented number of Chinese planes penetrated into the Taiwanese airspace. Everything I'm telling you right now, I'm backing it up with numbers, videos, pictures, and reports on my Telegram channel. Guys, go to Telegram. It's the safest. I know that you think, oh, Russian made. No, they're banned by the Russian president because they're anti-Putin. And go get Telegram Messenger and follow and subscribe to my channel there, Amir Tsarfati, and you'll see maps, you'll see videos, you'll see reports, you'll see all of those things. I'm backing it up with so much, so you'll know what you're talking about when you try to tell someone what's going on. And so we're talking about that. The last thing I wanted to mention is the fact that Iran has not yet reached a deal. It's pretty much a done deal with the Americans. Congress made it very clear to the president there is not going to be any approval for any deal with Iran. They all understand that Iran is fooling everyone. The Europeans are trying to reach a deal, but it's not working. But let me tell you something. The Iranians are not that sad because the longer it takes to reach a deal, the closer they are to have enough highly graded uranium for the bombs that they need. So far, they've got enough of the 60% concentrated uranium. And you know how it works. You need centrifuges to just circle fast in order to enrich the uranium. And the longer and the faster, the higher concentrated uranium you get. And so there's a certain type of centrifuges that they're allowed to use, but of course they're using the next generation. And they've got enough of the 60%, so when they choose to take the 60% and run it through the centrifuges, they won't need too long in order to reach the weapon graded one. And this is exactly what Israel has been telling the whole world for the longest time. So the Iranians are working on a nuclear bomb. The Chinese are testing the ground for taking over Taiwan. The North Koreans are testing missiles in an unprecedented way. And of course, we've got threats on Israel from almost every possible direction. And all of that while Russia is still attacking in Ukraine. Everybody thinks that Russia is defeated. Look, I know that what I'm saying is not the mainstream. I know that everybody wants to believe that Ukraine kicked the Russians and the Russian lost and all of that. I'm sad to tell you, I wish it was right. But Russia moved to phase 2. And phase 2 of this operation is to take over the entire Donbas region and to secure the entire coast of Ukraine to be under Russian control. For that, they need Mariupol and they need Odessa. And Mariupol is almost, it's basically in Russian hands. But Odessa has been attacked today. You go to my Telegram, see the cruise missiles flying low like airplanes and hitting the airport over there, where a plant for fixing airplanes and fixing some weapons was completely destroyed. Look, I've got tons of videos that I'm not uploading because they're very gruesome, very, very, very horrific footage of the losses of the Ukrainians on the ground. And nobody wants to upload them because it is against the narrative of the West that wants to make sure that Russia looks as the only one that is being defeated. But for me, I don't want to show it because it's really bad. It's very, very bad. But I'm telling you, I get footage from both sides. From the front where Russia is actually making a huge progress, and from the front where the Ukrainians are pushing back big time. And I want to tell you something. Don't believe anyone that tells you that Russia lost and it's over. And by the way, the Russian ruble is back to the level of before the war. You understand that? And Europe is still buying gas from Russia. Make no mistake. And, they might try to break away from Russia, but it's not going to be overnight. And before you know it, Russia will set some facts on the ground when it comes to the Ukraine and the Black Sea. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going on there. But while I'm saying that, I just want you to know that the Israeli stand on the Ukrainian-Russian conflict is affecting the Israeli-Russian relations and is affecting the ability of Israel to strike in Syria, because the Russians are the landlords in Syria, and the last thing we want is to clash with the Russians in Syria. So a lot of stuff is going on. Look, it's so tranquil. Look, I'm going to try and show you the Jezreel Valley. Here it is. That's the valley over there. It's beautiful. It's so quiet and peaceful this Shabbat afternoon. I don't know if you can see it. You can hear the cows mooing, but over there. Yeah, this is the valley. You see over there. And don't let this deceive you. A lot is going on, whether it's here in the land, right outside the land, further on the Iraqi border, in the Ukraine, and all the way in North Korea, Iran, and China. So look, when you see all of these things, remember, look up, because your redemption is drawing near. And I'm very, very happy that Christians are finally getting back to their senses to fight for the things that matters. And the things that matters are such as the life of the unborn. And it's going to be interesting to see the U.S. Supreme Court final decision. But I'm going to tell you, this is making Satan so angry right now. And he's so angry right now that he's going to make sure that every church will suffer harassment by all of these activists or pro-abortionists. And I can also tell you that he's very angry because, he made quite a few people very, very wealthy and quite a few companies very, very successful. You understand that? But now he demands the price. Satan demands the price. And the price is, give me the blood of those babies. And the reason why I'm telling you that is I just read that certain companies, big ones, are planning on funding the travel expenses for people who wants to perform an abortion and they can't do it in their own state. So he made those companies rich. And now when they have the money, they're going to spend it on what he really wants, which is kill the babies. Now he demands the price for it. It's quite amazing. It's so diabolic, but that's who he is. He is the devil. So, but these are the things that Christians should stand up for. That's biblical. To stand for the right of people to live life and not be killed in the womb. These are the things that, the Bible, and by the way, I always tell people to put pro-choice against pro-life is stupid. Why? Because life is a choice. The Bible says in Deuteronomy 30, choose life. I put before you today evil and good, death and life. Choose life. You need to choose life. So pro-life, the opposite of pro-life is not pro-choice. The opposite of pro-life is pro-death. Last time I checked. And in both cases, it's a choice. So when you fight, you need to make it very clear. We are pro-choice. And the choice is choose life. We make our choices. And so it's very important. God says choose life. It's not, God, this is the sanctity of life is and who is the one who is the master of death, if not the devil himself? So I want to encourage you, now that COVID is almost over and we can get back to our senses, these are the things we need to fight for. And that's exactly what we're here for. Stand for the truth of the gospel, family values, and of course, life. And of course, Israel as well. So thank you. Listen, please share this with as many people as you can. I want to tell you also, I know I'm not allowed to, but I will tell you anyway. Thank you for grabbing Revealing Revelation. This book broke every possible record of pre-sales. And I'm not at liberty to tell you how many. But I can tell you that if I thought Operation Yoktan was a bestseller, and it did win bestseller title, this book is more than double. So, and I'm so happy because this book is pure doctrine, gospel, salvation, prophecy. And believe it or not, Walmart and Target are carrying it. on their shelves, which is a miracle. And so pray that the book will enter into the bestseller major lists next week. And so many, and the reason why we want that is so non-believers who are interested in reading bestsellers will put their hand on that book and check it out. Thank you for getting it. I get tons of comments from people who already either are reading it or they already finished it. And so many write that it's a life-changing one. So again, thank you for your prayers. Also, thank you for your prayers for my family. We went through a very, very hard time. We're still going through. But we believe in Romans 8:28 because we know that all things work together, that God makes all things work together. He makes it. And we know, we don't guess, we don't feel, we don't hope. We know that they work for good for those who are called according to his plan. So thank you again for all your prayers, your support. I love you. Share this with as many as you can. And again, go to Telegram to see the videos, the maps, the articles. It's important not only that you get there, but you also share it. Thank you. God bless you. And shalom from Galilee.